1 second. Okay, let's go share now. So, boys, the title of this live stream is Romantically Broken Men in 2025 plus Love in Storm Melissa. So here I am in the tropics, Santo Domingo, capital of Dominican Republic, one of the most misunderstood countries in the world. But we got hit by the storm last week. It's been about a 10-day process, and it hit pretty hard last week. It was about 7 days, floods, rain. The wind wasn't so bad actually. It was much more the rainfall, the flood. So a lot of areas of the city, particularly the poorer areas, got completely flooded. You know, people literally swimming down the street. The nice areas, like my area around here, it didn't get too flooded, but there's just heavy rainfall and everything closes because nobody goes out. Nobody goes out at all. Even the supermarket closed, for goodness sake. So it was a pretty tedious week last week. I still went out because I'm English, so rain doesn't really bother me that much. But when everything's closed and no one's out, what are you going to do, you know? So, yeah, that was Storm Melissa. It was not actually the worst storm I've been in out here, not by a long shot. But I don't know, these things just capture the imagination of the press. I think after a while they just latch onto it. But I mean, I've been in storms here where 20 people died in one weekend. And this storm, Melissa, one person died on the whole island. In Jamaica, they said 3 people died. But when you look into the details, the 3 people that died in a building site accident trying to prepare the building site for the storm that was about to hit. So it hasn't killed that many people, to be honest. But it's just been a lot of rain, a lot of disruption. So yeah, so that's Storm Melissa. And I thought about titling this live, The State of Men and Women in 2025. But I thought let's just focus on, these kind of broken men in 2025 and just try and diagnose this situation. What is happening and how can this be addressed? Because I think we're at a point historically that is truly unprecedented, where you have fairly affluent, good-looking men who quite literally just cannot get a viable girlfriend in their own country. Even let's say a 7 out of 10. Let's say the guy's a 9, he can't even get a 7 in his own country, right? That is getting towards the point we're coming towards now. So it does require some diagnosis. It does require some diagnosis. It obviously varies from country to country, but I travel around a lot and I have noticed a pattern across the board that there is an obvious disruption. Some countries have been destroyed by it. I'll go into that in a moment. And then some, it's just kind of been a little bit of a disruption. So let's just look into this. First of all, I'll give you the theory. I'll give you the theoretical breakdown, my take on it, and then I'm just going to give an individual account from yesterday because it was such a good illustration. So my theory on it is a couple of things. First of all, I think this is people blame social media, and sometimes that's spurious, but it is true that now women can get attention from men without going out in public, which is a completely novel thing. And women do crave attention. It's just part of their nature, really. Men, we crave respect more than attention, much more than attention. Respect is what is important to us. But maybe a little bit of attention, but I would say it's 90% respect. With women, it's much more attention. So back in the day, when I was 15 to 20, let's say, there was no social media at all, didn't even exist. And for girls to get attention, they had to get dressed up and they had to go to a club. And they'd be with their friends, they'd have a load of fun, and then a side thing was they'd get plenty of attention from guys as well. That was like a side thing. And it was kind of a healthy mixture of social interaction, fun, dancing, and then some attention from the guys. It was a kind of healthy mixture. It was actually pretty good. And then you would talk about the girls, like, let's say on the Monday, you talk about the girls who were out on Friday and Saturday night, and you talk about, oh, yeah, Claire was looking incredible, wasn't she? Or Eve was looking amazing this weekend. Yeah, Republic, what was it? Republic 2002 or something. If you know those names, you know who I'm talking about. You talk about them the following week, and these were girls who are a couple of years older than you, and they would be like the belle of the ball, right? And even that kind of attention can definitely gas a girl's head up, and it definitely did. Now we're in a different sphere where attractive girls now are becoming professionally hot. So they're making a complete career. A girl who previously would just get bought a few drinks is now she's making the entire career out of it. And then it obviously kind of filters down. So the sevens are getting the attention that even beyond what like a literal nine. And for me, a nine is someone who is like physiologically very superior. I don't think people really know what like even an eight is extremely fit. A seven is hot. An 8 is extremely fit, a 9 is physiologically superior, and a 10, we're going to sort of Miss Universe kind of level territory. That's a 10. So the modern day 7, who's a fit girl, but she doesn't have like a special face. Her facial construction is not that good. It's just kind of normal. Body's just kind of okay, fairly in shape. They are now getting the attention that 9s used to get. Yeah, they called it hoflation. I don't really like that term, but yeah, we get it. And that is true. That's something that's affected the marketplace. Cold approach and real face-to-face interaction does cut through that quite a bit. But I think there's a more damaging thing that's happened, which is it's not that you can't talk to these women, it's that they don't really care about men as much. They don't even really care about having a boyfriend because they can get that attention online. And there's definitely some women who've been affected by this, and it's a form of mental illness, without doubt. It's a form of undiagnosed mental illness. I remember a ballet dancer. I went to a wedding about 10 years ago. This is the start of social media. No, it would be 13 years ago now. It was early days, right? Still for social media. And my friend married a dance instructor. She was a former dance performer, and all of her friends were dancers, ballet dancers, all of this, right? Great girls. And there was one who'd built up a following, right? She was a ballerina and she built up a following. She was really a fourth-rate ballerina. Now that sounds like I'm being harsh. It's not. It's actually an incredible achievement to be a fourth-rate ballerina. It means you're a professional ballerina. But to get to like Bolshoi ballet level, right, you've got to be a genetic, beyond even a specimen, you've got to be a freak genetically. So she was actually exceptional, but she wasn't like one of these, Russian state ballet or Bolshoi or anything like that. She was just an amazing body, like graceful girl. And she was like 27. The wedding, all the guys are like in the 28 to 31 bracket, super eligible. Like you could not find a more eligible group of guys. Okay, unless we're talking about, I don't know, you're talking about some celebrity party, but normal guys, this was absolutely top tier. The guy who's getting married is a friend of mine. He's an investment banker, right? You can imagine everyone who's coming, right? And they're cool as well. They're not dickheads. They're really cool. All sorts of different good careers, great people. And there's a lot of flirting going on. There's all the dancers there. I'm flirting with all these girls. We're all flirting with each other. It's a great environment. But I just remember that one particular girl, in a way, she was the belle of the ball. She had no interest in anyone. All she wanted to do was just update her followers, spray herself with perfume by the pool. And it was very obvious, like, oh, she is mentally living in a different universe. She's mentally vulnerable. And she's got mental illness, which is she's engaging with these obvious losers online. And she's got all these guys around her. And honestly, we were like quite put off by. I flirted with her a bit, but it's quite off-putting. And a lot of the guys, like we talk, and it's like, yeah, this girl's fit, and this girl's fit. If you talk to her, yeah, yeah. And this one girl, even though she was the hottest, she was not really like you couldn't date her. She was too mentally disturbed. So yeah, that's definitely something that's happened. It's definitely a factor. a lot of these girls are sort of professionally hot, and I wonder where they think this is going to lead. Do they think at 32 to 34, then they're going to get married once they've been a celebrity for long enough? I don't know. I don't know how it all works, but there's, certainly that has affected the marketplace. Places like the USA, I can't even. It's, you know, that almost requires a separate video, to be honest. If you're an American guy, just know this. I don't say this with any malice towards American women, but they are the least competitive on earth. There's nowhere that's less competitive than the USA. British girls are pretty average, to be honest, internationally. But American girls, it's a big country, so it's a generalization, but as a general rule, as a normal man, they're fairly repulsive. It's quite an achievement. It's a perverse achievement to create a nation of women that are truly repulsive to men. Yeah. My American friends out here, they talk about that they stay here partly for the girls, but they say, yeah, even back home, all of their mates married Latinas, black girls, like I'm talking African girls, not black American girls, Asian girls. It's a big pattern, right? So that's a whole other video. So there's all these dynamics in play. So that's the women's side of things. So there are things that are happening with them. Then what's happened to the men? Well, the men have lost their confidence. Generation by generation, the confidence that men have has been chipped away at. In all sorts of ways, partly being told you're evil for being a man over and over again. It's evil to be sexist. You being heterosexual is sexist. Not deferring for women to women is sexist. Not taking women's needs into account is sexist. The whole basis of relationship and couples therapy and all that garbage, it's all just based on a female primary understanding of relationships, which is the primary thing a relationship needs to do is to satisfy a woman's endless emotional needs, and a man is just lucky to be there. And that is the overwhelming narrative when it comes to relationships. Obviously, it's complete bullshit. But some men are trying to bend over backwards to fit into this, and it obviously doesn't work. Beyond that, you've also got lack of literal knowledge of female nature. And even the red pill is not enough. Like it's way too primitive. It's not really a true understanding. It's a bit of a start. It's better than being a complete delusional idiot. But red pill doesn't, it's a very puerile understanding of women. Like the idea that no women benefit from relationships, they'll just quote unquote monkey branch. That's not true. That's not true. Women benefit a lot from relationships, a massive amount from relationships, arguably more than men. So, and many women do value them in most normal places. So, yeah, the red pill and all of that, it's a bit of a start, but basically a lot of knowledge has been lost. And I would refer back to old writers. Look at Friedrich Nietzsche. Look at Oscar Wilde. Oscar Wilde was gay, right? And the way he writes about women is on point. It's on point because he's observant, right? He can see what's in front of him. And he critiqued English society of his day because it said it's basically English women are treated as if they're completely rational actors. And that's why they all go around looking absolutely miserable. And yeah, it's like, there's so much I could go into there. The Nietzschean quotes, men exist for war, woman for the recreation of the warrior. That's such a good, deeply psychologically true version of relationships. Men exist for war, women for the recreation of the warrior. On the deepest level of psychology, primal psychology, fuck the logic, fuck everything, fuck society. There's so much truth in that quote. And then you go back further than those guys, you go back to Shakespeare. Shakespeare had a fantastic understanding of male-female nature, amazing understanding. He's like labeled as sexist and stuff now. Read the fucking characters, yeah? The women are not passive wallflowers, but at the same time, they're not fucking girl bosses either, right? They're real women in Shakespeare. There's the Taming of the Shrew, Romeo and Juliet, Macbeth. Look at Lady Macbeth. She's very, very, manipulative in a way which is, this kind of like a malevolent female way of like female psychopathy, which is like highly manipulative, right? That's Lady Macbeth. Juliet, who is in love with Romeo, but at the same time, she's kind of like, come on, mate, if I'm gonna risk my fucking self, I want a ring, you know? Um, and she's kind of skeptical of Romeo's advances at certain points. So, yes, it's not gonna be a Shakespeare lecture, but in the past there was better education about women, and then you go back to the Greeks and Romans, and it's even better. They're the best, the Greeks and Romans, right? So there's just much more understanding. Uh, some of the Greek stuff is really funny. It's like any illness for a woman, just fuck it out of her. Basically, that's the angle that the Greeks had. But it definitely recognizes like female sexuality, as like the force that it is. So my point in all of this rambling is that men have lost all of this knowledge, and they come in saying things like, I just want to find a nice partner who will value me, and all these things. It's like, that's all good, but we don't live in a platonic world. Let's think about actually what you're bringing to the table sexually for the woman, and sex is mostly psychological. Obviously, it's physical as well, but it's mostly psychological. Let's think about other things you're bringing to the table as well. Are you able to stand your grounds? Do you have a firm direction? Are you able to give her direction as well? All these things that women deeply want. All this knowledge has been lost, or even worse, it's been demonized. So it's hardly surprising, is it, that relationships between the sexes are fucking disastrous. We've got massive divorce rates, masses of depression. Men and women are not coupling up as they used to be. And it's kind of at historically unparalleled, unprecedented levels. And it's partly because of a lack of knowledge on behalf of men and women. Is anything else happening with men? Arguably, easy access to pornography means that men can chemically satisfy themselves without dealing with a real woman. That's arguably the case as well. The shift onto online dating has been a nuclear bomb to male confidence as well. Because unless you're a 9.5 out of 10, or at least like high eights, which is very hot for a guy. It's a very good looking guy, way above average. That's like an 8 out of 10 would be if there's 100 guys, let's say he would be in the top, let's say definitely the top 6 or 7 in terms of purely on looks. Obviously women have different tastes and stuff, but so it's less than 1 in 10 guys who would be an 8 out of 10. Yeah, like a 9 or a 10, you're talking 1 in 1,000 guys, right? Well, obviously, okay, good for those guys. They can do well on apps, but that's not how humanity works, right? You need men's most attractive qualities is their male charisma, their machismo, their sexual confidence, their force, their assertiveness, their subtlety, their ability to engage with a woman sexually. And unfortunately, there's a whole generation of men now who don't even know that this exists. They don't even know that this side of manhood exists. Because let's say at 18, you get onto the apps, and when you've been in your teens, all you've looked at is social media and Instagram following, and you place that on a pedestal. You're 18, 19, 20, I'll pull universities in here. Well, this actually, I think in his story, he talks about this, how he would be going on apps and refining his looks so much that maybe in his case it's slightly different because he did understand charisma probably was a thing, but there's a lot of guys who they don't even know what charisma is, what male confidence is, what balls are. They literally don't know what it is. They've never seen it, right? It's amazing to think this, but there's 22, 23-year-old guys who literally think that all women choose on is looks, which is fucking absurd. It's an absolute absurdity. But in the context of apps, that's actually true. The context of apps is overwhelmingly looks that are gonna get you the result, right? And it's the way you pose, you set up, exactly, they're behaving like girls. You set up, the lighting. You might go out with some friends and you take a photo together so it shows you as a kind of leader in the group and so on. You've got to do all this stage stuff to kind of hack into the female brain just to get some matches. I mean, it's so toxic and it's so depressing for men. It's so unnatural. And ironically, the people who set up these apps are mostly literally autistic. People like Zuckerberg, Musk, they're both of them are autistic. Like Musk is Asperger's, Zuckerberg's autistic. These guys have got neurological problems when it comes to relating to human beings. And yet they are now in dominion over our social world, which is fucking crazy when you think about it. So this is all affected men. And so young men, I put a video out yesterday saying, looks maxes are spiritual transsexuals. Okay, what I mean by that is they are a physical man, but the psychology that's going on is, let me beautify myself like a beautiful flower, right? This is really female mindset. This is what women want to do. They deeply want to be beautiful, deeply on a level that is so profound. They want to be admired for their natural beauty. They need it, man. Even girls I know who are like high level professionals in massive companies, I've had candid conversations with them where they're just like, yeah, I just really want to be the hot girl. Deep down, I just want to be the hot girl with the Range Rover. And it's like, they've been sold this whole fucking bullshit, which they go along with. But then in these candid moments with me, they say things like that, right? So just as a hack for you guys, one of the best things you can do is to sexually and physically validate women. Because when it's there in presence from a guy that they actually like, this is when you're going out with someone, or you started to date someone, or you yourself, your approach is on point, you've got some charisma. Obviously you have to look presentable, but you appreciating their beauty, it does something for them, which I'd say would be the equivalent of like a girl coming to you being like, wow, I'm really impressed with the way you set your life up. Like, wow, you've got this business and you traveled so many places, and they're looking at you in an admiring, respecting way. I know for me, if a girl does that, it makes a huge, which is not that common to be fair, but it's very powerful. It's like, it hacks my brain to the point I'm almost like, this is my girl, because she gets me. She respects the things I want to be respected. If you can imagine a girl doing that for you, whatever it is you value, maybe she's just like, oh, you've been working on your body for like years. And then she's like, really, wow, you've put a lot of work into your body, right? She's appreciating you. She's respecting you. If you appreciate her looks, what she puts into her physical beauty on that level is very addicting for the woman, right? So you're pouring water over a flower that only a man can pour, right? So that's a little hack for you guys in relationships. But these young guys, they are actually displaying that same psychology that woman displays, which is like, please love me for my pretty face and my beautiful looks and my beautiful skin. It's really, really feminine. It is spiritually feminine. And we're at a point, it's definitely acceptable for men to, take care of their looks and all that kind of business. And I think younger men also get a little bit of a pass to wear a bit more dandyish clothing and stuff like that. I think that's fair to say. But it's gone way beyond that now. It's gone way, way beyond that now, to the point they haven't acknowledged that charisma and a male confidence and approach and assertiveness, that's what gets the old vagine to moisten up there, my friends. Yeah, that is what does it. Before I get into the story, the main story I'm going to tell is, let me give you this as an insight from a conversation I had about 15 years ago. So I used to be a club promoter. I was a guy who was out on the scene a lot even before I was a promoter. It was my side job. It wasn't my main job. But because I don't drink, I have so many conversations where the other person is a little bit pissed and they tell me things they probably shouldn't tell me. And because I'm not pissed, I remember it clear as day. I remember a girl, I knew her quite well, and I knew her boyfriend as well. He was a year younger than her, so she'd have been about 22, he'd have been about 21. And I remember having a conversation with her, and she said, I said, "Oh, how's it going with you and my friend's name?" Well, he was a few years younger than me, but I said, how's it going with you and him? And she said, "Oh, we're not together. We broke up." I said, "Oh, that's a shame. Why?" And she goes, "Well, he's really good looking, and this guy was a literal model. He was a literal model. This guy. He has been paid to model. Right? It's not his full-time gig, but he was a literal model." And she goes, "Yeah, he's really good looking, but he's not bang bang." That's what she said. He's not bang bang. That might have been a bedroom comment, but I don't think it was just a bedroom comment. I think it was more, this guy is too, he's still a little boy. He hasn't learned that more aggressive, rugged male, that he hasn't brought that out of him yet. He's still in this 12-year-old boy mode. Even though he had a job and he was working and everything, he wasn't assertive. I know that guy. Actually, I think he had a very overbearing dad, which I think probably beat him down a bit too much. I know their family. I know the whole family, right? So, anyway, so this guy's probably he's probably pushing. Yeah, he's pushing 40 now. So I'm sure he's very different now. But he was very young at the time. But the point was, his girl goes, he's good looking, but he's not bang bang, and that means he's not really a man. She's not really, her ovaries are not tingling to be inseminated by this guy, because it's like, is he going to stand up for me? Is he going to protect me? Is he going to rail me in the bedroom? Am I going to get this deep, dark, monogamy that I crave? Is he going to push me, right? Is he going to push me mentally? Is he going to push me sexually? Is he going to challenge me? All of this stuff, right? That a grown man should do, he just couldn't do. He was too young. Not that long later, maybe a year or two later, she was with a guy. He was a French guy. She had a family with him. She got pregnant with him. She'd have been about 23, 24. And he was older. He was about 35. And obviously, and he wasn't good looking. He was a French guy, hairy French fucking beast, right? But he wasn't good looking. Again, that's an insight into female psychology, right? That's such a good story, because the looks maxed guy was dumped for a guy French guys are very good. They're quite subtly confident of their sexuality. A lot of French guys, anyway. I've told stories about my competition of the French guys in the past, but that's just a really good example, right? It's just a really good example. So the male brain has been hijacked with all this imagery and this idea that you've got to be Mr. Looks Maxed to get the girls. And when guys say things like, "Oh, I'm getting really good results with this face maxing routine," all that means is you're getting a few more matches on Tinder. That doesn't mean you're actually really interacting, So, yeah, even those guys who've focused in on the looks, if they don't know how to approach, if they don't know how to hold it down with a girl, if they don't have masculinity, basically, they are going to get left by these girls. The girls will leave them. Even if they do maybe get a few lays and stuff just because they're a bit of a pretty boy. Let's say if you're considered to be a 9, a lot of 6s and 7s will actually just throw themselves at you. Yeah, because it's kind of like, it's a step up for them. But the really hot girls, it's not enough, man. You've got to have the full package. It's not enough. And to keep a relationship as well, you have to develop these qualities, right? And they're in there, they're inside every man, but you just got to bring them to the surface. And so that's my whole theory about this, of how the female area has been distorted, men have been distorted, and we are now in an unparalleled situation. Okay, things are at a drastic level, right, at this point in time. There's never been a time where young people are having less sex. Can you believe that? Even the fucking 1800s, right? Young people having more sex than they are now, right? Marriages are at an all-time low. Birth rates are plummeted through the floor. I'm still waiting for Ursula and all these. I'm still waiting for. I'm still waiting for all these politicians, the CCP, to give me a call to help them raise up the birth rate. So we've got all these issues in society which stem from a disconnect with men and women, right? And then there's all the social programming as well, equality and all of this. Fine for the workplace, maybe, but not for relationships. It does not fucking work in relationships. So people have been brainwashed and men don't know how to lead. So this is a situation. And let me just read this comment here. So I'll just read this comment because it's a really good question before I get into the rest of the story that I'm going to give to you, which really illustrates all of that theory that I've just laid out there, really illustrates it to a brilliant level. So the question I've got here, what would your advice be for somebody who has limiting beliefs, does not believe in themselves, but is not at a point to afford coaching yet? That's a really good question. So there's a few things I would say here about this is the person who decides your value, first of all, is you. You're the first person to decide your value. So what can you actually do? Because I've heard coaches say, imagine you're 100 out of 100. It's like, well, it doesn't really hit, does it? It doesn't really hit. It's like, what does that even mean statistically? It doesn't work. So what you need to do is develop an absolutely massive, I would actually say narcissistic level of self-belief, right? And you do that in two ways. One of them is the internal, which I'll come on to in a moment. The other is external. So literally talking loudly and gassing yourself up in conversations, talking as if you're the greatest guy of all time, right? And teasing the girl, right? So just try that, Mohin. Talking loudly and confidently, and like you're the greatest guy of all time, you love your life, and tease the girl a little bit as well. Just have a starting point. That's something very simple you can do, and just see how the response will change. You'll notice a little look in their eyes. Yeah, this is not getting the girl into bed. This is not going that far down the line, but just start off with that. Talk narcissistically, like you love yourself, a little grin, and tease the girl. This is base level flirting. You'll start to notice girls will respond to you in a different way. That's just a starting point, okay? So that's a very simple thing you can start to do. In terms of the internal beliefs, there's a couple of things. I'd say, are you fulfilling your potential on some basic metrics? You know, you say you don't have good internal beliefs. I can see your photo there. You look perfectly normal to me. So basic things that can help. There's some external things you can do. Are you presentable? By that I mean, are you reasonably well dressed? Do you have a cool style? And you don't need to be looks max, but are you groomed, right? You know, do you look like, you don't look like an actual hobo, right? Hopefully. And then is there any extra stylistic stuff, a few little tweaks here and there that you can do? That's really baseline. What that can do is it can just give you a little bit more of a sense of security that at least I know I look decent, right? This is not looks maxing, okay? This is not an overemphasis. It's just a baseline, right? It's a baseline. This has always been the case for guys, right? Then beyond that, you've got to do internal work, which I actually can't give in this live stream. It's beyond the scope of this live stream. It's related to your nervous system. It's related to much deeper seated beliefs. I actually know how to shift those, but I can't go into this live stream because it's just too long. So focus on those two things to begin with. Flirting, speaking with narcissism, grinning, right? And then just make sure you're presentable. That will take you up a couple of steps. I'm not going to take you up 20 steps here, but let's just get a couple of steps going. And make sure you are conversing with girls to begin with. So let's have a look at Paul's comment here. Dating apps straight out of high school, struck gold. You could get a hot girlfriend by chilling at home. Yeah, exactly. And this is horrendous, right? So you're that generation. Paul is that generation of guys. Now, fortunately for him, this process completely failed, right? And he's a good-looking guy. He's got his shit together. A sporty guy who has done had a really interesting life. He's got way above average social skills, and it was just basically eating shit on apps. And so yeah, there's a whole generation of guys like that. Some of them pulled themselves out. Paul University pulled himself out, no pun intended. But there are a lot of guys who just fundamentally don't understand what charisma is. I would honestly advise to the younger guys, I think you're going to have to seek older guys to be around older guys who you see have got charisma, or you see the way they interact with girls and just notice what they're doing. I was not dissimilar, man. When I went through a phase when I was let's say 14 to about 19, I had blunt teenage confidence. I was a very sporty guy, and that just gave me I probably had, I don't even know what my testosterone levels would have been at that age. I don't fucking know, but like crazy testosterone at that age. So I had like a blunt level of confidence. I actually did quite well from 15 to 19. I was just bluntly confident. I was fine. And then from 19 to 23, I went into a completely different environment. I moved down south. I went into this high class, upper class English environment, and I didn't understand it. It was very fucking pussified. In retrospect, like it probably did quite a lot of damage to me. I didn't even know. But I was like, oh, what's this whole other way of interacting, right? I'm from the fucking north. It was more basic and more straightforward. And then there's all this bullshit. And I was like, oh my God, I was confused, right? Then I started to move around different countries. So I had a hard time from about 19 to 25. I definitely had a hard time. So I know what this process is. And I looked to other guys during that time, be like, right, what's he doing that I'm not? And I'd see some guy, like a delivery guy. I remember staying in his hotel, an Ibis hotel, when I went to visit my friends, a shitty hotel. This delivery guy comes in and he's flirting the fucking pants off this receptionist. I'm about 21 and I just watched him. And I'm like, and he was just cocky. He was like flirting with her, the way he was looking at her. The guy was like a 5 out of 10, right? And the girl was fucking loving it. And I was like objectively definitely better looking than this guy. I had hair in those days as well. I was a good looking young guy. The girl just looked straight through me like nothing, right? So yeah, so there you go. And I watched guys like that. I had friends who were a couple of years older. They give me a few tips here and there. But I remember really struggling in my young adulthood because I'd lost that blunt confidence. And I even read the game as well, which made me worse, right? The game made me worse because the game was written for freaks, by freaks, for freaks. So I started to apply all this fucking bullshit, right? Because I didn't know what to do. I was in a bit of a, when I think about it in retrospect, I'd moved areas to a totally different culture. Anyone who knows the difference between like the Southeast and like Sheffield, yeah, that's a different fucking culture. It may as well be a different planet. So I'd moved into a different place. I didn't understand the social romantic bullshit. I didn't really fucking get it. I thought I had to become someone different. Then on top of that, I'm still like, I'm learning anyway, right? So I lost a lot of my natural confidence. And then I get the book, The Game. I think that's going to help me out. Everyone was reading it. That just made me worse, right? So I understand young guys have their struggles. Now it's even fucking worse. But what I did, look to older guys who can just help you out. So if you get on, like, yeah, get onto my channel, maybe have a look at some of the conversations you'll see just have a look at some of the conversations you see me in on my infields. Have a look at other guys' infields. Have a look at Paul University's infields. You know the guys that I associate with that I think are great. Have a look at people actually talking. Just note what they're doing. But probably even as valuable, if not more valuable, is if there's anyone in your vicinity, get around them. So I'm out here in the Dominican, and there's guys here, there's like 70-year-old Italian guys who've been flirting the pants off girls for 50 years, and they're still doing it now. I love to be around those guys. My friend out here, he's in his 40s. He's the guy who taught me really, and he doesn't know he taught me this, but how to stop a woman just through shouting in the street, which you can actually do. And I've done it loads of times. People have seen me do it. I'd never seen anyone do that before, and he did it. We was sat in a cafe, and he just bellowed across the road at a girl. And I was like, interesting. I think for UK, I slightly adapted it to not be quite as aggressive as that guy, but still, it's still a bold thing to do, right? So these older guys who came up pre-social media, if they're natural flirts, they'll have some real skills. So get yourselves around those guys. And yeah, let's get going, because that was a whole preamble. But now I just want to recount a story from yesterday, which illustrates this absolutely beautifully, this point. So all that theory about what's going on with men and women is predominantly in the West. I would say that. Other countries, they have their cultures. Places like Latin America, things are fairly healthy. The Balkans, I won't say is completely healthy, but there's a bit more of a starting point. I do think they've got some issues over there as well. From what I've seen of Africa, there's definitely African men and women definitely are fine. Like, we look at the birth rates for God's sakes. Like, they definitely are fine with at least the flirtation aspect of things. Asia's having its issues as well. Different places, different cultures, right? But the West, what I've outlined there, has battered the West, right? Battered it. And let me just tell you this story from last night. So this is a story of symptom, of horrific simpery. A simp is a guy who gives way overvalues women and kind of sucks up to them in a way which is very boyish and unattractive and unhealthy. We all know what a simp is, but just to give you the definition. And so I see an example of this last night. So I've been in and out of the Dominican for the last 5 years. I probably spent about 3 years of my life here. And what happens over time is, especially in my area, you start to walk through the street and you see everything differently. I'm able to see who the prostitutes are. I'm able to see who they're called Sankey Pankies. They're mostly gay prostitutes, to be honest with you. I'm able to see who Los Tigres are. These are guys who are like on the make. They're sort of semi-criminal, but not really criminal. They know how to get what they want. They usually have like 4 American girlfriends that send them money, Los Tigres. And then I'm able to see the normal Dominican guys, and then the tourists that come in for a couple of weeks, the guys that stay around for a month, and then the absolute fucking pirates who live out here. And you can just see the guys, it's clear as day. Whereas when I first got in, I couldn't identify any of that. Now it's very easy for me to identify. It's weird. Yeah, it's weird to see. But yeah, like, and the guys who've been here for 20 years, they can see even more than me. But I've been in and out for 4 years, so I can see it. And so I'm very able to observe what's going on. So if I see a guy with a girl, I can immediately tell if she's a prostitute or not. That's easy, that part. I can very likely tell if they've met on Tinder or not. That's also very easy as well. If you see a decent looking but a little bit socially unconfident guy with a fairly decent girl out here, you can, if it's a white guy, you can guarantee, or even if it's a black American guy, you can guarantee they met on Tinder. You can guarantee they met on Tinder. Because that will give him an in that he probably wouldn't pull off in person. And then I can see the guys who are like, again, my Italian mates are just seducing bastards. The local guys are just, they're born seducers, man, a lot of these guys. So I'm in my cafe yesterday. There's an expensive cafe I go to. It's a sort of, it's an amazing building, which is like a recovered stone building that's been revamped. And it's this kind of beautiful sandstone, black metallic beams, nice wooden, like wooden surfaces. It's in the colonial zone, so it's got this kind of historical Spanish feel to it. It's got the best coffee in the country. It's grown in the country. The prices are higher. It's like $4 or $5 for a coffee, so it's basically Starbucks prices. But it is premium quality coffee. The milk is great. Hot chocolates are great. They've got a food menu, everything. So like locals will come in, rich locals will come in, and then like locals will come in just like maybe once a month, twice a week, and it's like their little day out or something. You know, they spend a few thousand pesos, have lunch and stuff, and it's a nice little thing for people. The people who go in real regular, it's mostly foreigners because we'll pay $5 for a coffee. So I go in there like pretty much every day. Same thing, I see the couples that come in, I can observe it all. Yesterday I'm sat down and I see this guy come in. First of all, I see a girl I know is a prostitute come in. I see her on the street. She's a literal street prostitute, right? And she's a Haitian girl, and so she's like darker skinned than Dominican girls. And she's pretty. She's got a nice face, good body, but you can see in her eyes there's like a cold deadness in her eyes. Which is really obvious. You can see that in a prostitute's eyes, man. You can fucking see it. It's something that you can't hide, man. The eyes give it away more than anything. Those street girls, you can see it in their eyes. You can also see there's a kind of filth on their skin if they're real street, which even if they showered, it's hard to say what it is, but there's There's a dirt look on their skin. She's not bottom of the barrel street, this girl, but she does. You have seen her on the street, right? So she comes in with this guy. I'm like, interesting. And she's dressed differently to her normal streetwalker stuff. She's not in just like spandex or a mini skirt, you know, pink spandex or something, like looking like a real prosty. She's dressed different. She's got like a purplish type of dress on, a denim jacket, some Vans on, you know, that kind of cool, sexy, cool sort of style, but not like a prosty basically. This girl, and I'm like, oh, she's dressed interesting today. And then she's with a guy. Let me put my aircon on. She's with a guy, and this guy is, I would say, he's about 6 foot. He's blonde. I think he's like, yeah, blonde, blue eyes, good-looking face, like lean, chiseled face, very in shape, very, very in shape. Like not big, but well, a bit of strength on him, like rippling like biceps and stuff. Like definitely works out like fuck, basically. My interesting. And he's probably late 30s, maybe early 40s, but if he's early 40s, he looks fucking unbelievable. But I would say he's probably about 36, 37. And I just watched him, I'm like, huh, that's interesting. He's on a date with this prosty, and it's a real date here. Huh, interesting. And then I watched them together. I'm like, this is not a prostitute situation. You know, when you see the guys with the prosties, what's normally going on is the guys are kind of getting off on their ego, and the girls are just kind of looking at them, like letting them get off on their ego a little bit. A lot of them, they go on these little dates and things together. It's a bit weird, and then it's like a girlfriend experience, I suppose. And or they're just going straight to the bedroom, right? And the guy looks very sheepish and unconfident, and if he does approach her in the street, imagine this, right? I see guys who are shy to approach prostitutes in the street. I see that on a daily basis. That's where we're at. American guys, primarily. Imagine being shy to approach a prostitute. I don't think the Europeans are any better, but like, imagine that. But it's not the normal scenario. This guy sits down with his prosty. He's got his arm. He's cuddling her. He's like kissing her on the cheek and stuff. He's looking real fucking loved up. And he's like, saying, oh, you know what, you all right? Where you sitting? Are you comfortable? He's really doting on her, as if it was like if it was his first girlfriend and he was 15, I would be like, dude, you are simping here, my friend. But like, fair enough, it's your first girlfriend. And this guy's simping all over this girl. And I can see she kind of likes it a little bit. She's maybe not even that comfortable, but maybe she likes it a little bit. I was sat fortunately where I could just observe them out of the corner of my eye really easily and subtly. So I just observed the whole thing, and I'm like, man, he thinks this chick's his girlfriend. And I thought about it, and I was like, the way he looks, I was like, shit. He's not met her on the street. He's met her on Tinder. Because a lot of these prosties, they'll go on Tinder, and they'll get guys like, they might get guys as clients, but they might also get guys on a long burn, on a slow burn, where they'll go out and date the guy and they'll get more money off him that way, right? And maybe they do get feelings for the guy as well. Prostitutes can actually fall in love as well. They actually can, right? They're human as well. So I don't know what the fuck was going on there. Or maybe it's the whole package, right? It's the passport, it's the money, and it's the guy. Well, he's going to be treated better than the average client, and he's not going to beat her, right? And this guy's Canadian as well, by the way. I can hear it in his accent. So he's simping all over this prosty, and I'm looking at it going, fuck, that's a Tinder couple. That's the exact profile of a Tinder couple with the tourists. Right, I know myself what I looked like when I was a Tinder couple. When I first got out onto the island, I didn't really know how to do daytime cold approach. So I met a couple of girls on Tinder. And it's kind of like, there's a certain look of those couples that you can kind of see. There's something you can kind of identify there. So yeah, they're a fucking Tinder couple. I'm going, fuck me. And he's simping all over this girl. And every so often I would see her kind of look up, or she'd go to the bathroom and look in the mirror or something on her way there. And I'm like, I can see this dead, manipulative look in her eyes, which is, I can easily see it. And I think anyone normal could easily see it. You would have to be really naive not to see it. Never mind to start simping over her like this guy did. And so I sent a message to boys in Entourage just describing this scene while I was watching it. I was like, man, you know, death to the simps. Long live cold approach. Long live your options. And yeah, I was kind of like, I was kind of just seeing this guy with pity and disdain and horror, quite honestly, because he thinks he's got a girlfriend here. I'm like, bro, she's getting fucked in the arse, literally for $40, maybe less, maybe 30, depending on the night if it's a slow night. And you're simping over her, dude. She's getting fucked by probably hundreds of guys a year for $40. She's a third world prostitute. And she scrubs up pretty well, and I'm sure on Tinder she had some good photos. Oh my God. And I know this because I've been on Tinder on here a few years ago, and a few girls asked for money. There's all sorts of horrendous girls on there. Fortunately, I don't know, I was just hardline. I'm like, I'm not fucking paying for your prostitute ass. Don't request money. Like, even if a girl's like, she's just poor, right? And I shag her for a while, and then she requests $100 or something. I might be like, all right, this is a fair quid pro quo. You're not a prostitute, but I get it. You earn $500 a month, and you want to buy some new skin cream or something. Okay, fine. I'll give you the money. Right? That's like, maybe I wasn't used to that in the West because the girls are more proud and all that type of thing. But maybe I was a bit naive myself, but I did that a few times. But that was for girls I've been shagging for months, right? And I actually enjoyed their company. They brought a lot of value. They probably cooked me dozens of meals by that point. This is girls who are like asking you for cash before you've even met them. They call you and they say, hey, I've got a secret to tell you. And then you're like, they message you and it's like, this is not a secret. You're asking me for money, So some of them do that, and then some of them will try and get guys on a long play. They'll try and date them for a while, and then all of a sudden ask for money. That's if they're skilled. They'll do that, or they'll even go a longer play, which is like go for the passport. So this girl's like, I know this girl's a street hawk, man. I've seen her in the street dozens of times. Wow. And I was looking at the guy just thinking, man, you are a fucking simp, dude. First of all, for not being able to detect the fucking obvious, which is look into this girl's eyes. What do you see? You don't see a normal woman. Come on. My friend calls them cucarachas. Yeah, it's like, I won't translate that word. Look it up. Cucaracha. Yeah. But like, you can see this ain't a normal girl. If you've got any experience at all, you can see this is not a normal girl. I could see something about this guy, like the way he was treating her, he was fawning over her so much. I just couldn't believe it. It's like, and I thought to myself like this morning, so yesterday I was thinking, what a pussy, what a fucking simp, death to the simps. But then I thought to myself this morning, and I actually had a dream last night. And I actually had a dream, I'll be honest, right? I dreamt that same situation was happening, but I was on a double date with the guys, with the guy and the girl. I was with my date and then he was with his date. But it wasn't the guy I saw in the shop. I wasn't the guy I saw in the coffee shop. It was a different guy, right? It was a different guy. It was a guy from the Entourage. I won't say his name. He's a cool guy. He does get laid. But for some reason, he just came into my dream. And I think he was representing this Canadian guy in my dream. And we go around and it was a bit of a truth or dare. We said some racy things. And then someone said, like, what's the truth? Okay, what's your truth? And the guy just said, you know, my honest truth is, all I really want is a nice girl who just loves me for me. And it was this really, really crazy moment of like, this is my dream, right? We're all just sat there and it all goes quiet and we're like, it's quite a moving thing to say. I was like, man, wow, that's interesting. And I woke up this morning and I thought, I didn't think of the guy who was in my dream. I think he was just a representative, but maybe he represents all guys, what we really want. And I thought back to that Canadian guy and I was like, yeah, that's all he wants.
this guy was like probably at least an 8 out of 10. I would say probably getting towards a 9 if you go by all the metrics. And like, what situation are we in where guys who are like a 9 out of 10, they're turning to third world prostitutes? Okay, didn't know she's a prostitute, but like, they're turning to this level just to get some affection from a girl who at least reciprocates and will come out with them, be pleasant around them. What kind of fucking situation? How inhumane has Western society become towards men? I'm all about strengthening men. I'm all about, basically, we need to be the ones to lead this forward. But from time to time, a little bit of a look at the whole situation and go, how inhumane is this? Because he's not the only guy I've seen like this, right? And you look at some of the stuff that's going on, things like the fucking divorce courts, how men are getting absolutely destroyed, right? We don't need to go into all of that, right? Because as I say, I'm all about the positives. But every now and then you have to look at it and go, this is fucking inhumane, right? And I see what some of the Western guys put up with, and I wouldn't put up with it for 2 fucking seconds. And it's inhumane, right? What they're putting up with. It's like dating a girl who disrespects them, who's average looking, and they're so desperate. This is the only sexual access they can get, and they're so weak because they don't have any options, and they've got no backbone when it comes to women. And they don't understand that, unfortunately, although you treat your woman special, she doesn't understand that she's getting special treatment. You wouldn't put up with this from another guy, but you put up with it from her, thinking she's special. And unfortunately, you can't do that. Yeah, they don't realize they're getting special treatment. So you have to basically not give them special treatment. You have to show a backbone. These guys don't know this shit. Lack of education, lower quality of women. Women don't understand how to keep men around. And it's almost like the women become bullies. We know what the whole thing is going on, right? And then at the level of society, men are basically been told, particularly American and Canadian men, European men as well. I think it's very acute in the US and Canada. They're being told all of this fiction, the whole equality nonsense. And it's become very fucking inhumane, dude. Very inhumane. And I actually do have some sympathy for these guys. Because if we look back like say 3-4 generations, the guys had the right to be confident. Society told them it was cool to be a man. It was cool to be a cowboy. Society told the women, your job is to find the best man that you can, right? And have a family with him. That was the social messaging. People critique that now, but at least that model perpetuated human life. Women are basically told, as far as I can see, particularly North America, this seems to be what I'm seeing. I don't know enough about it, but there's almost a hostility towards men from the boomers downwards. That seems to be what I see on media. I don't see that so much on like for example, Paul University. I don't see that on his channel. So maybe I'm getting a misrepresentation, but there's almost like a fundamental disdain towards the men. It's just a very inhumane thing. And whenever I meet American girls, I just honestly, I would say 90% of cases, I just want to get away from them. They're just so unfeminine, so weird. I was thinking it's fucking inhumane for men to have to deal with that. So, guys, that situation of men who fundamentally dislike women, it's, first of all, don't get yourself involved with women like that. You just got to leave. You're much better off on your own. Me and my friend have been Sinner to Winner. We've been on a bit of a no-fap thing for the last few weeks. But honestly, you're better off with porn than that. Or you're better off just like literally being alone. But also, don't lose hope. There's only 150 million women in the USA. Most women around the rest of the world, even if you say some of Western Europe has gone the same way, I still think there's good women. Even in America, I still think there are good women, but it's obviously harder. Western Europe, it's the same. So you can find good women in your societies and around the world. None of that shit even fucking exists. So just get a passport, go to fucking Africa, go to Latin America. You will have to man yourself up a little bit. Just go to these places and you will find women who will appreciate, you'll appreciate what you bring to the table, to be honest. they will take your consideration as consideration. They won't walk all over it, because their other best option is a taxi driver who beats them. That's literally their best option, right? In like half of Asia, half of Latin America, Uber driver who beats the fuck out of them. Yeah. But obviously, there's local rich guys, desirable guys, but that's like by far the majority of guys is guys like that, plastic bag Romeos. So yeah, don't lose hope. Basically, if you're a guy who you're having struggles, you need to learn to approach. You need to learn stuff that I talk about on my channel. Take it in, take it to heart, but also give yourself a try overseas as well, and you'll find slowly over time, it's like you move up in the leagues. When I was in my mid-20s, I was, even though I thought I was good, like looks wise, prospects wise, in terms of my interaction with women, I was like maybe a non-league player. Slowly over the years, I've moved up. I had a little stint, maybe I thought I was Champions League. Really, I wasn't. I was probably Championship, because I was getting the best girls in my city, but it wasn't the hottest city. Now I'm like more towards the Prem, you know, getting into that Champions League, like approaching Miss Universe, approaching some like really globally top tier girls. I'm on the cusp now of like breaking into that model type of world, and I'm 40 years old. So I've moved up in the leagues, basically. I know how I know how this goes. So get yourself overseas, and you might find at the very least, you'll be able to get a decent 7 or a 6. Let's say you perceive yourself to be a 7 and you get nothing. Go overseas some places and you actually will get some play, and it will do wonders for you. Obviously, you do have to learn this stuff as well. So let me just quickly go to questions here. So let's have a look here. You watched the stream, yeah. Okay, so yeah, Mohit. So you're looking at a lot of guys. I would say start taking some action though, bro. Start taking some action. What I've told you there about flirting, just start putting it into play, and don't give yourself like, you're not even trying to get laid. You're not even trying to get a kiss. You're not even trying to get a date. You're not even trying to get a number. You're just getting some interaction and some flirting going on. Let's get that rolling first with you, my friend. But yeah, don't just be a fanboy on these videos. Actually go out and apply this stuff. Get out of your head, start flirting, and then come back onto a live or put a comment on one of our videos saying, hey, I've tried this. Get yourself in there. So you're based in Canada. We don't claim that Canadian. Yeah, I mean, he was a simp, but and I felt disdain towards him yesterday. But I woke up today and I thought, wow, that's fucking tragic, dude. That's fucking tragic. Because in a previous generation, there'd have been some local girl who'd been married off with, and I don't know, man. It was just fucking tragic, dude. It was tragic. And yeah, he definitely didn't know she was. Yeah, so Paul, he definitely didn't know she was a sex worker. No way, absolutely no way. I could see he was loved up. Even a simp like that, you wouldn't love up like that over a sex worker. No way. And she didn't look like it in the way she was dressed. Like, and he obviously had no clue, man. You know, just innocent guy, didn't know what the fuck was going on. Balthus. Yeah, the guy definitely did not know she was a sex worker. No way. Because you can see, like, I've been here a long time. It's like, let's say when we were in Serbia, after a while, let's say the cold approach guys we saw in Serbia, you get to see, okay, that guy is actually cool. That guy's a fucking freak. This guy is a newbie. Oh, this guy's all right. Or like the local guys, oh, this guy actually has got a bit of style. You know, he's actually got a bit of an approach going on. Or the local guys where you're like, nah, you're just a fake alpha male, which, you know, there's plenty of those in Belgrade. So you start to see, and we were only there for a few months. Like, I've been in and out of here for 5 years, and I've lived here for about 3. So you can see it. And I go to the same place every day. Okay, so Mohit, I'm going to say to you, get yourself, so this is a looks maxing thing which is acceptable. Get yourself in better shape. You've got no excuse, bro. All you need to do is go to the gym twice a week for 40 minutes and do resistance training. Fuck the cardio, bro. Yeah, if you just want to look a little bit better, just do that, right? That will give you, like, it's the external that becomes internal, right? That will give you a little boost in confidence. That will give you a little boost in confidence. Also, you need to, I don't know if you're just doing cold approach, sort a bit of a social life out as well. Don't just be a cold approach guy. You need to have a social life as well. Okay? Keep doing the approach though. Be more direct and just go and do some compliments and have a little flirt. You're not trying to get numbers, you're not trying to get laid. Compliment, flirt, and that's it. That's all you're doing. That's your task for the next month, right? So yeah, the last thing I wanted to say here is this concept I've got of being pre-whipped. So Balthus, I hope you don't mind me sharing, he mentioned something to me about one of his friends who was actually from the Balkans, who Balthus made a comment about something and his friend goes, well, isn't that a bit sexist, mate? And actually what he said wasn't even sexist. It was just a normal comment, maybe holding a woman accountable. I think it was something about the Paris theft thing, and it was just like the DEI hires. We all know that if a military man was in charge of that, the crown jewels would not have been robbed. Right? We know that. That's a fact. Yeah. You could have put me in charge of it, and all I would have done, I'd ring my friends in the military and say, okay, what do I do? Set a perimeter. They just tell you what to do, right? But you should have military and police there, obviously, right? That's obvious. Women don't have a concept of security. They don't have that concept. They don't know what to do. It's not instinctive to them. Maybe if they've got a lot of training, but honestly, even if they're trained, I still wouldn't trust them, to be honest. I just don't think it's in their nature, right? And we all know this. And that's why now France, because of DEI, has lost its fucking crown jewels. Literally jewels that were given to like Josephine by Napoleon, right? This is history. This is France that has been lost. I'm not going to go down that whole route, but it's obviously the DEI thing is bullshit, right? And his friend goes, well, isn't that a bit sexist to say that, right? And it just brings to mind the concept of being pre-whipped, okay? Pre-pussy whipped. A pussy whipped guy is a guy who acts on behalf of women and not on behalf of himself, never mind men in general. Doesn't even act on his own behalf. He acts as if the female brain, like in Alien, is like on his face and it's like infiltrated his brain and it's like, okay, right, whatever women need, that's my job. Not in a way where it's like quid pro quo, as in I protect my girl, I pay for her everything when we're going out and all that shit. Then she comes in, she cooks and cleans for me, and then we enjoy sex together. It's all quid pro quo. It's more like, no, everything needs to be for her, like the woman, right? Female primary thinking that's been instilled in men is very subtle. And I think there's always a risk of this happening because like our first caregiver is woman, right? And obviously we like women anyway, we want sex with them and all that. So there's always a risk that this can happen. But in this new climate, you add on to the education system about feminism and equality and all this bullshit, it's endemic in men. And I see it even in guys who I know who fucked a lot basically. They get married, they get simped up. And yeah, I've seen it in guys, and I call it pre-whipped. It's like the girl doesn't even need to have a fight with you or even throw a hissy fit because you've been whipped in advance. You already do and react from a female point of view. This is not good, and it's not normal, and it's not healthy, and ultimately it's bad for women as well. They think you can think they're getting what you want, but it's a bit like you say yes to a toddler all the time. What's going to happen? Is that going to be good for that toddler? No, it's not. It's really not going to be good. And it's the same thing here, right? So yeah, I call that pre-whipped, basically. It's not good at all. And that guy, yeah, he's fucking Balkan. That's absolutely shaming. I would... You see, I'm at a point now where out of politeness in that conversation, to be polite, because I understand the pussification of European civilization for a long time, I would never say anything there. I would just kind of, I wouldn't even react. I'd just be like, whatever. But I'm getting to a point where I'm like, maybe just all the time, I need to throw down all the time in all these situations and go, no, that's bullshit. Equality is a load of bollocks. Maybe I need to start anything outside my professional life because in the past I would just politely nod my head. But I feel like that doesn't give the alternate perspective. But then obviously you risk like becoming ostracized. But that's fine. I think I've gone through a process of self-ostracization, whatever that's called, where now all my friends are basically of somewhat of a similar mind. We don't all think the same thing, obviously, but all of a similar mind. We all get it. Even my friends who don't know about cold approach, they still all kind of get it, right? It's just good you want a wing to look at what is missing. Yeah, Balthus. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Mohit, check out Balthus's channel as well. One thing I'm going to start suggesting to guys as well. This is something we may all start doing. Is if you can get someone to video you or do a voice recording, that's also good as well. But yeah, there's the concept of societally pre-whipped, which is not good. It's definitely not good. And ultimately, like if women take over society, you basically get this namby-pamby fucking protective state where the truth doesn't even come out because it's going to hurt everybody's feelings. And we live in the fantasy world of a fucking 12-year-old girl, right? Yeah, and it's a problem because guys professionally, if they speak their minds, we're now at a point professionally where you probably can get fired for saying some of this stuff. Contrast this with my friend, the boomer who's in his 70s. He goes to me, Joseph, I promise you, in my 20s and 30s, I never saw a single woman in a professional position that was not a secretary. There was no issue. There was no issue. He grew up like in the boomer period, right? So it's interesting. So he didn't encounter this stuff. But I certainly think as soon as you get into your personal life, then you should be able to just, tell it how it is, basically. I think it's good for your soul to do that. So, yeah, in fact, that's just going to be like a process for me going forward, is just to expect I'm going to have everybody hating me, probably including my own family. It's interesting though, because with my own family, I've towed the line. I've towed my own line a lot. And my sister basically, I gave her some negative feedback about basically called her woke and intolerable, and she got really upset about it. And but then she actually asked for more feedback from her boyfriend, and he kind of beat around the bush a little bit, but she probably could surmise, you know what, maybe I am fucking intolerable, right? I gave her negative feedback as someone who loves her, not to bully, but because it's like, look, yeah, you are fucking intolerable, yeah? Ultimately, do women really want to be intolerable? Do they actually want men to dislike them? Especially as they get into their 30s and 40s. It's like they're not just a hot babe anymore who can get away with it. It's not good, right? So I don't think we're doing women any service if we don't just call it how it is. It doesn't mean you have to bully them or demean them or anything like that. I mean, some of that can come in the bedroom, but in general, just call it how it is. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. Here is easy because everyone thinks the same shit because they're on a baseline in society. No one believes the bullshit that people have been bred to believe in the West. Same obviously in Serbia, same in Turkey, same all over the Balkans, pretty much same in Brazil as well. Brazil, they try on with the feminist stuff, but the society is just too naturalistic for it to catch on. So there's only a few countries in the Anglosphere, maybe a little bit in Europe as well, where it's really caught on. So, yeah. So let's have a look here. What else do I have here? Yeah. So other things I just wanted to touch upon as well. Cold approach really now as a social superpower, because the more I thought about it, the more I think, well, what value is this, right? If guys who've got that guy, for sure he's Canadian, they earn a fucking fortune up there. He's got money, like he's got looks, he's in shape, he's intelligent, he's got education. Well, let's assume, and yet he can't approach, and he's resorting to what he doesn't know is escorts on Tinder, right? Who getting fucked up the arse for $40 a night. When you look at that, what value does cold approach have? Just a good approach. Permiso. Párate. Te veo increíble ahí. ¿Cómo te llamas? Just a quick little approach. Just a quick little bit of flirting, knowing how to deliver a compliment, like getting into conversation, having a bit of flirtation, maybe going on a quick instant date, maybe getting the girl's number. which having the confidence to do that, which you develop over time, it's not difficult. It's difficult at first, but it's not difficult. And you develop this, it's a skill, it needs to be worked on, but the more you do it, the more your training can just kick in. You got boys alongside you who know what it's about, they respect you for doing it, they support you for doing it. You know, what is the actual value of that? Monetarily, what is the value of it? I don't even fucking know. I don't even know. Like, if I could go back to 21 and say, right, you can learn this to the level that, say, Paul University learned it to, or me now, where I'm so well-rounded, I can seduce in the street, I can seduce in coffee shops, I can seduce on the dance floor, I can seduce in a club, right? Doesn't mean I win every time. No, but I've got the capacity. If I could download that skill at 18 or 21, I'd have fucking emptied my bank account. I'm not even joking. It's just like, yeah, I don't need money now. I'm fucking 18, but I need this. I need this forever. Take my fucking money, right? And then as you get older as well, it's like you've got less time, you know? I'm 40. I'm 40. I'm glad that I've invested in this. The moment, just to illustrate, it's not to gas myself up because I have just as many rejections as anyone else, probably more than most people. I have age objections sometimes. Most of the time, though, it does go pretty well. You know, at the moment, I'm messaging girls all over the world between 20 and 30 years old. Yesterday, I was with a girl. It was her 26th birthday. Saturday, I'll be with a girl. She's 26. Tomorrow, Friday, I'll be with a girl who is 22. Right? I'm 40, guys. 40. Yep. And you can see little bits and pieces of it on my channel, but obviously, you know, I've got another job. I don't go around with a full-time film crew, videoing my whole life. So you can get a small taster on my channel of what I'm able to do. And I'm nothing special. As I say, I struggled in my early 20s, despite being probably better looking than I am now. Really struggled in my early 20s. Picked up in my mid-20s to late 20s. 30s was going quite well, but was limited to clubs. I felt like I had mastered clubs, to be honest with you. And then 37, complete free range, open everywhere, right? And these boys in the live, Balthus and Ephraim, they've seen it. You know what I mean? I'm a 40-year-old, right? They've seen it. We've been out together. They've seen it all going on. And I've seen guys, well, I know about guys in their 50s. Actually, I've been with one guy in his 50s, not in the entourage, but one guy in his 50s. So you can learn this at any age. But the world I'm living in, compared to that Canadian guy who is simping over a prostitute, the world I'm living in is 3 girls who are fit enough to be like Insta-thoughts. The girl I was with yesterday, I'm going to come on to this story in a minute. The girl I was with yesterday, she actually looks like a prostitute in the best possible of ways. And I'm going to come on to this in a second. And it's quite funny because a lot of people think she's a prosty. She's not. She's not at all, in fact. She's a business owner. She's been a business owner since she's 17. This girl's a true gangster. The girl I was with last night. And we'll come on to this story, but what we can do, we can generate just from practice, repetition, the correct mindset, having older guys around us. I am now one of the older guys in the entourage who can offer knowledge on every aspect of seduction. I had older guys who helped me. What you can do is unparalleled, really. And at the end of the day, what is the fucking point having all the money, having all the accolades, if you just can't have sex? If you can't, it's a basic human need. It's like, what's the point of having money if you can't fucking eat? What is the fucking point? I've got all this cash in my bank, but I've got no food and drink. Well, what's the point? It doesn't make any sense. This skill is worth its weight in gold. It's worth its weight in gold. And when we come to the real business end of life, let's say you decide to have a family and children, yeah, your ability to attract a premium quality woman who's premium on looks, personality, and who fits into your life as your assistant, right, the model I run is male leadership, female assistantship, who runs that role and she loves it. Your ability to generate that is based on your ability to approach and then to do all the other stuff that I talk about on the back end. It's a full embracing of your masculine role, of your hero's journey, of your kingship. Your ability to do that literally determines the genetic code and the genetic health of your children, right? If a woman's a 4, right, she probably has health problems. She's probably got fertility problems, right? Like beauty really, feminine beauty really denotes fertility and health. So if you're with like a very low level girl and she's also got a shit personality, it's like you've got lower level genetic material for your children to start from, and you've got not the greatest relationship either, and you don't know what the fuck you're doing. I'd say stay the fuck out and work on yourself. And when you get to the point, give it a year, give it a couple of years, you're ready. And I would say honestly, guys, as well, stick around as well. Stick around in these communities. If you find people like myself or there's other guys that you relate to who actually got receipts on their channel, stick around, hear what they've got to say, because it's not just the approach, it's the seduction, it's the ongoing relationship as well, right? This is all important. What is more important than your fucking DNA? Yeah, your children, right? The reason I have pretty decent DNA, I would say, not to be weird, but like pretty decent. I'm 40. I look all right. Yeah, you should see me with my shirt off. Yeah, I look all right for a 40-year-old. All natural. Is because at some point my old man, actually no, he didn't. His mate fucking approached my mum, right? His mate cold approached my mum, right? And that's funny. His mate cold approached my mum, and then my dad, I think he got in there anyway. So he did something, right? Then he took her on the date and everything. So like, because of that, I got what I think is quite good, Definitely like was good looking when I was younger. I still think I'm pretty good looking for a 40-year-old. And yeah, if I compare that to what if my old man had just been a complete pussy, or my mom had like low standards for guys or something, like she got knocked up by some, obese like truck driver or something, chain smoking truck driver. She was a skank drug addict. I would have literally come out with a different genetic code, right? And so I say like, go for something good. Obviously, we don't want to become fucking eugenicist over this, right? We don't need to go mental over this, right? We don't need to start measuring people's fucking, measuring their facial dimensions, but just a good, healthy, attractive person you have a good relationship with. It's so fucking important. What is more important than your DNA? What is more important than giving your kids a good start in life? And even if you don't have kids, what is more important than just having a great personal life? Yeah, I'll tell you, like, I'm going to tell you the story about last night, because this is a fucking great story. Let me just get to the questions now, just before I get into this story. One of the guys in the group I'm in regularly posts his approaches so that we could learn. Mahid, that's good. Are you getting numbers? If you've done 150 approaches, you've got no numbers, you're doing something wrong. So are you getting numbers? Have you at least got 10 numbers out of that? I would say I would expect you to be getting 10 numbers out of that. Paul University, genuinely, I cannot think anything I'd rather spend my money on. No dates to dates whenever. Guys spend 10x on a fancy car or a watch thinking it will achieve the same. Yeah. Why do men gravitate towards status symbols? Maybe for other men to respect them, maybe. But let's be real, a lot of it is just so they can attract a woman, right? In a car, it can actually get you in there, to be honest. But if you've got like a mental car and you've got some confidence and charisma, that can help. Or you could just have the confidence and the charisma, right? And you could get sick at cold approach, and then have a great life, be well presentable, and you get the same girls. You'd have to spend $500,000 on a car. Now, the issue also with guys that lead with money, here's the issue for guys who lead with money, and I've got friends who've done this. You lead with money, Okay, fine. Then what happens as you get into this relationship? You're led with money, you got to follow up with money. Yeah? So you're leading and you're following up with money on a constant basis, right? I've seen friends of mine turn non-materialistic girls, intellectual girls, borderline hippie kind of girls. I've watched them turn those girls into very materialistic, borderline gold diggers. I've watched it happen in front of my eyes. Yeah? All of a sudden, the girl's talking about Louis Vuitton and Gucci and whatever, diamonds, bullshit. All of a sudden, that's happened. They go from an intellectual, I see them reading these crazy books. Fucking interesting. Yeah? And because they've been led along with money, then it's just an ever increasing cost. And obviously the guy's doing it because he thinks it's giving him status. Some guys do get their status from money, but I would say as far as women go, be very fucking careful with that. Be very careful. Lead with your dick. Lead with your personality. Lead with your charisma. Because that's something, it doesn't cost you anything and it actually gains you. You know, it's like, it's cheaper, first of all, but more than that, it's like that can earn you money as opposed to being a cost, right? So you guys who lead with money, come on, dude. It's not the way to go. I just basically do the thing where I just cover the costs, but I don't buy them shit, really. Like, unless it's a girlfriend and it's like, you know, I bought my girl out here, I bought her a scarf when I was in Istanbul. You know, it's like $20. It's a nice gift. She herself, despite earning fuck all, she's bought me way more than $20 worth of gifts. So I'm not leading with money, but if we go out, I'm just paying for the food and whatever. It's not that difficult. And you set your own budget as well. So if you can afford to spend 50 quid, you spend 50 quid. Yeah? If you can't afford even that, well, go roll with it. You can still get girls, but that's probably a bit of an indication there's something to do, a little bit of work there. There's a little bit of work to do there, just in your life in general. But yeah, I don't take girls out for fancy meals. I think the last girl I took out was that big, thick Nigerian girl in the UK. That date probably cost me about 60 quid because I got her an Uber back from Manchester back to Stockport, which is quite a way. That's probably about 15 quid Uber. And then I think I paid for some food and drink and stuff. I don't even think she ate, I think I ate. So it was partly my own doing, right? Most of my dates are about $20. So my date last night, okay, so you got 12 phone numbers in total, Mahid. Good man. It'd be very interesting to see like what you're doing, but yeah, 12's not too bad. That's not too bad. Yeah, I'd like to bump it up to like 50 out of 150, to be honest, if we could, or at least 30. But at least you're getting something there. And good man for doing it as well. But yeah, let me just talk about last night's thing as well, because that cost thing is it's taking me onto this. So the girl I'm with last night, right? I'm sat in the coffee shop. It's about 8 p.m. I see the Haitian prosty come in with a Canadian tourist. I've already talked about that. And there's a girl I messaged earlier in the day who I met in Street Approach about a month ago. Instant dated her. She was dressed as a cheerleader, this girl. She's like 5'1". Enormous assets, dude. Enormous assets. Fucking insane. She was dressed as a cheerleader. She's half Dominican, half Chinese, right? Her dad's Chinese, right? She's half Dominican. So she's got an interesting face, like half Asian looking face, and then the most Latina body imaginable. Massive tits, massive ass, big thighs as well. And like, she's not got like a six pack, let me put it that way, but you know that type of curve where it's like, it's all in proportion. She's got that. I just approached, she's just a fucking cheerleader, just exploding out of her clothes. I just approached her, I was like, man, what is... And I commented on her clothes. We got an instant connection. And then we went out. The first time I saw her, I was like, is she a prosty? Because the way she was dressed was so outrageous and her body was so pornographic. There was a part of me that thought, possibly, but I looked at her face and I was like, That's not a prostitute's face at all. At all. And she went to get some, I think she went to get like a burger and chips on the street, right? So I approached her. We have great banter. And like, we go for an instant date. Turns out she's a business owner. She's got a couple of businesses because both her parents are dead. Her dad was an older Chinese guy, had a younger Dominican wife, and he actually died after she did. She died of I think like a heart attack or something, quite young, and then he died like a few years later. So she inherited a lot of money. She inherited property. She's also got a business of her own as well. It's really interesting. Like her dad owned a road. Believe it or not, you can own roads out here, and then you put a toll on it, and then that's a business. Right, so she's got money, this chick. She's 25 and she's got cash. But it's just an interesting profile, right? Someone who's lost their family at like 23. She's a woman and she's got cash. Interesting. She lives with this enormous dog, which is like the size of a fucking horse, like crazy fucking dog. And she lives in quite a nice area as well. But she's also got some tattoos on her, which is, it's not usually my thing, but they were just funny. Like she's got a Rick and Morty tattoo, you know, that professor on her arm, like weird tattoos, like fucking strange tattoos, right? Manga tattoos and stuff. She's not covered, but she's got a few. So she's a character, this girl, and I ended up like on this instant date, had fun with her, met up with her like a week later, the usual date stuff. She stays over at mine, whatever. And so as I'm out in the cafe yesterday, she messaged me and she goes, "Oh, it's my birthday today," and I was like, "Right, well, come out. I'm out. Let's have a drink." Right? She's like, "Okay, cool. I'll come down. I'll let you know when I'm in town." And I'm not exactly sure she's going to come or not, but anyway, she pitches up while I'm in the cafe. The cafe is it's about 9:30. It's about to close, so I got out to see her. She's in this dress with like mini skirt again. It's like this like mermaid style dress with these like mermaid fucking wings coming off her, like this crazy fucking dress, right? Obviously the massive tits, massive ass, nice face, just a fucking cool girl. So we go for a drink and we're just having a laugh. I've kept contact with her, but I've not met up with her again since that first sexual encounter with her, because I'm just like, I don't want to get into a thing with her, but I can keep her on a, I'm around, we can chat, but I'm going to keep you at a distance kind of thing. And if she drifts off, that's fine. Other guys are going to be in for her, that's fine, I know that. But like, we might meet up again, let's see. It was good to meet her last night. It was her birthday today, so it was like her birthday night last night, right? So we go down the roads. If you're seeing multiple girls, by the way, just a quick tip, go to different venues with them. You don't really want to be bringing the same, unless you're completely single. If you've got a bit of a rotation going on, just bring the girls to different venues. Yeah, so that goes to like where you're living. You're living in a good place. You don't want to really be going to the same place with like a different girl every fucking day. It's a little bit, it's a bit risky in my opinion. So anyway, so I go down to this new place I've not been to before, but I've seen it. We sat outside on the street having a drink. She has a margarita, I have a glass of wine. It's just great vibes. She's a very funny girl. And at a certain point, right, this guy comes past. We're outside. It's about 10:30. This guy comes past and he's trying to sell us a painting. He's got a painting, right, in his hands. And I'm like, is this guy on drugs? He seems absolutely fucking batshit crazy. But the painting was really fucking cool. And it actually looked quite like the girl I was with. He'd painted this woman with musical notes coming out of her mouth, and then an angel in the top corner. And the angel looked like one of the tattoos the girl had. So the girl's chatting to him. She's like, "Oh, it's my birthday, blah, blah, blah. She looks like me, blah, blah." She had this girl has got, her lips are so insane. It looks like she's got plastic filler in her lips, yeah? But she doesn't. Her lips are completely natural. People pay thousands for her lips, and her tits, they would pay like fucking 10 grand for. But anyway, so she's like, the painting, the girl had these really like luscious lips, right? They were like red. So the guy's joking with the girl. I'm kind of just like, I'm just leaving you to it, because when these street hustlers come and talk to you, I don't engage too much, because then then you get into the reciprocity trap and you end up fucking giving them money for something, right? I've done it before. I just like, yeah, I just don't engage. But she was engaging. She's having a laugh with this guy, and she's saying, "Oh, you need to give it me as a present and stuff like that." And she's chatting to him. eventually, eventually, she gives him 200 pesos just as a gift, right? And then he walks away, and then he comes back later and he gifts her the painting. And then he says to me, like, he gives me a whole list. He gives me like 5 other paintings, right? But these small ones, right? And he goes, pick whichever one you want. So he gives me this fucking painting here, right? This painting of a girl with a bat. Just some bullshit, abstract bullshit, right? I've got it on the table here. And he just gives it me. So I'm like, to be honest, I'm not giving you any money because I don't even really want to talk to you. But, you know, my date here has been charming you away. So for the princely sum of 200 pesos, which is about probably $3.50, maybe $4, like £3. For the princely sum of £3, we got like a full big painting, which is the one the girl got, and then I got this little thing. Okay, it's stupid, but it looks alright, to be honest. The colour scheme's alright. Abstract, funny little painting. For the princely sum of £3 off this guy. So like she's kind of like, she's using her social skills just perfectly naturally. The guy loves her. And so like, yeah, this is her birthday treat, basically. She gets basically essentially a free painting. We have our drink. Her drink's quite strong, so she's getting fairly pissed. Then at the end of the night, and about midnight, it's like it's her birthday. I said, oh, let's go down to the park. We sit in the park. I'm like, right, it's your birthday dance. Come on, let's have a little dance. And we're doing a little bit of bachata with this girl in the park. Classic, classic Joseph maneuvering. And we're just having a good laugh in the park, basically. And she tells me, she's like, we're joking, because she goes, you look like a male prosty, because like the male, they call them sanky pankies, like the male prosties, they wear shirts, right, and they wear like fully unbuttoned down to like 2 buttons and like a cross. And I had that on yesterday, and I had a pair of jeans on, purely because all my other clothes were at the laundrette. So I only had these clothes to even go out in to begin with. So I went to the cafe dressed like a fucking male gigolo. And so she's laughing about that. And she's saying to me, it's like, yeah, to be honest, I just look like a prosty. And I was like, to be fair, you do. Because it's just how big her tits are, how big her ass is. She's got tattoos as well. She just looks like a fucking Dominican prosty. She's like, yeah, no matter where I go, people think I'm a prosty. And she's got that type of body where it's like, she doesn't really go to the gym. So like, she's got like a little bit of cellulite on her ass. She's got a big ass, but she's got a little bit of cellulite on it. So it's a bit of a dirty, it's a filthy body that she's got, in fairness. So anyway, yeah, so she comes back to my place, and she spends the fucking night here. So I go out with just my little gigolo clothes on, go to my cafe. I'm reading my copywriting book. I see the whole situation going on with this Canadian guy and his prostitute girl. Who ironically doesn't look like a prostitute to his eyes, even though she does obviously to me, from her face. And then I end up coming back home with 2 paintings. Yeah, one of them is like massive, on this fucking big tit Dominican girl. So that's my Wednesday evening. I spend the night with her as well. Yeah, long live cold approach, right? Long live cold approach. Oh, woo, this freak again. Bro, honestly, just whenever I see that Joseph Blake Lisbon sells, bro, honestly, what are you doing? Will you just fuck off my channel, you absolute freak? So guys, anyone who's like nice to me on this channel or who's productive, I show respect to. My clients, I'm in their corner for months on end, right? I'm backing them for months on end, right? I give them great advice, like objectively great advice. Freaks who come onto my channel or make weird comments, just get off my channel. This is not for you. Cold approach is not for you. I don't know what you should do. Maybe go to see prostitutes, go and see a psychotherapist. I don't know, but don't come and speak to me, my friend. I'm not your guy, okay? Anyway, but yeah, just to get back to the story, So yeah, so then I go back. So today, like, I'm working. She's coming out. I'm like, no, don't come into my Zoom meeting. Yeah, fucking hell, you'll scandalize the whole meeting. Yeah, she's there bare ass naked walking around my flat with her dirty fucking, dirty whore body, even though she's not a whore. And so anyway, she had this like she had a dress on, and then she had spandex underneath the dress. And so when she goes out today, she doesn't want to put her dress back on. So she goes out in white spandex with these massive norks like dangling around in front of her. Um, like really nice. She's got a really nice face, to be fair. I get her the Uber around 3 o'clock. She's going past, like, down past all the office and stuff down here, like the people who work here. It's this old woman who fucking works here. She's a bit of an old, I don't know, pushy old git, really. But I'm on good terms with her, but whatever. So she's going past the office. I'm going past the office. I'm like, I know they'll have seen me on camera because I know they check the cameras. Like, I go out and then I come back in, two paintings, this big tit girl. Now she's going out dressed in white spandex. She's got these black platforms on, crossing the street, and it's like a whole fucking scene, basically. So just a humorous night, basically. I'm just thinking the opposition between what that Canadian guy was experiencing and what I was experiencing was, you know, I've got a girl who looks like she could be an escort, but she isn't. Having fun, coming out with me, great personality, who I've approached in the street. He's got a girl he's met on Tinder who he doesn't know is a prosty, and I know for a fact she gets fucked every fucking week, at least by multiple guys, because I see her out on the strip. Basically the prosties come to a certain part of the strip, and that's where I sit with my mates in the cafe. There are other girls who come round there who aren't prosties, right? They're not all prosties, but the ones you see, this obvious they're prosties, right? And I've seen her around. So this total inversion, right? It's total inversion. And to be fair, there are nicer girls than her who are more physically beautiful than her, for sure. That I get with, but it's still like she's a fucking awesome girl, and just the size of those tits in your face, like I think it was Elijah Long, he said the other day, like, you need some titties in your face, and I was feeling like I just need some big fucking tits in my face. So yeah, great night, great girl, and yeah, what a Wednesday evening. Go out for a fucking hot chocolate, and I come back with two paintings and this fucking hot fucking minx. So yeah, boys, you don't need the apps. You don't need to have millions of pounds. You don't need to have a following of 10,000 people. You don't need to look smacks. I advocate just looking presentable, look good, but work on your masculine charisma, work on your confidence, right? Yeah, there is obvious, like, there is a reason you want to have at least a decent income and a decent remote income. That's so that you could have a decent apartment, dress okay, do some fun stuff, and go out and meet girls. That's why you need that money. Yeah, you don't need to have millions so that you can buy status symbols to make up for your lack of a personality and your lack of charisma. Look at Jeff Bezos. You know, he's the richest man in the world, give or take, and the best he can get is a Latina with 3 kids, a 45-year-old Latina with 3 kids, who probably does actually like him. And I think that's his pull to that girl. I think she's obviously should be good in bed. She'll suck a good dick, to be fair. She's a fucking 45-year-old Latina, but she probably does actually like him, as well as likes the fact he's got cash. Like, she'll be turned on by this, bald white guy on TRT, right? She'll probably dig him. And so to him, that's probably very intoxicating. It's a natural thing, but it's pretty fucking pathetic, isn't it? When you're the richest man in the world. I think it just speaks to the fact that we've got guys in our group who are not millionaires, the same age as him or older than him, 50s, who are getting prime 30-year-old women and who are not having to have a yacht and own the biggest company in the world for it, right? So yeah, you don't need ridiculous amounts of cash. You can even do it on a very low budget. So that should be reassuring for you guys. Just develop yourself. I do think like, being presentable, that's what I call it. Go to the gym, yeah? Get yourself like some decent style. That's just obvious stuff, right? Because first impressions count, okay? But being a looks maxing fucking rent boy who's like focused all in on that and excluding all the other stuff, it doesn't. Most of these looks maxers, I know they're not really getting much play, or maybe they got a girl online or something. And some of these guys actually look quite respectable, but they kind of have a down negative opinion of themselves. And I know with the right training, if they came out with me and I trained them, I know I could get them some success with women. I know for a fact some of these guys who are like, oh, woe is me, I can't get girls because I'm too ugly. I look at them, I'm like, no, dude, there's nothing wrong with you. You're perfectly normal. You know, you're not fucking Brad Pitt, but you don't need to be Brad Pitt. And even Brad Pitt himself said when he first moved to Hollywood, look up the quote, when I first moved to Hollywood, I couldn't get women to save my life because he was 21, he had no fucking clue what he was doing, he was probably a little simp, right? Look up that quote. Brad Pitt himself admitted it. So what that proves is even literally being Brad Pitt is not enough. If it's not enough for him, it certainly is not going to be enough for average guys, and probably his looks maxing guys, they're probably not doing that well either, right? So I know these guys with skills, with finesse, and with some masculine confidence, they could do really well. I remember a guy, I don't want to, I'll mention this story. So this is one of the guys we met over the summer. He thought of himself as like very unattractive. And I thought, well, everyone's got a profile. We've all got a profile of things, right? We can leverage. This guy was very smart. He was actually very tall as well. So he's like, there's a couple of things there. He had good style as well. So there's a couple of things we can work with there. You can get pussy, right? And actually, in some of his approaches, he did well. And when he actually came into wing with me, he found his style. He found his approach style, which was to use his intelligence to take the piss out of girls. Right? The girls fucking loved it. They were digging him more than they were digging me, right? In that little approach. So it just shows like they aren't looking at you on this bullshit, like eugenicist bullshit, right? And the guys that think that only think that because they've never been around charismatic men. And I'm realizing that so many guys nowadays, they don't realize charisma exists. Imagine that. It's like, oh, well, I think it's just money, look, status. And it's like, well, that's all I've seen. And it's like, well, yeah, that's because you don't even know that a thing called charisma and masculine machismo actually exists, right? And humor, right? And self-confidence, which is way more important. It's like 80% of it, right? You don't even know that exists because it's been so, like kind of destroyed in society. And like, yeah, come out to visit the DR, bro, or Brazil. You want to, or Italy, yeah? You want to see real fucking charisma. Come and meet my 70-year-old mates from Italy, right? Who mac like nobody's business, and they've got girlfriends in their fucking 20s, right? And it's not pay for play. Obviously, they'll treat them to a drink and stuff, and they treat them super well. These guys flirt like unbelievable, yeah? And because like the local girls here, they probably couldn't get those girls in Italy, but because they're like unusual, it's a smooth European guy. Those guys are like a little bit interesting to these girls. So yeah, maybe they couldn't quite pull that off in Europe, but they probably could get a hot 40-year-old, definitely, in fact. So yeah, but out here they're pulling like 23. It's ridiculous. It's in their 70s, my friend, in their 70s. Yeah, and if you're around them, you'll see the charisma. You'll see the charisma. My American acquaintance out here, I mean, he's an actual gangster, to be honest with you. He's an acquaintance. I don't say he's a friend. I do like him. It's taken me a long time to understand this guy, but he's super aggressive. And like, I learned some things from him, but he is ridiculously aggressive. Very crude, but ridiculously aggressive. And he gets girls just on that. He does well, just off aggression. Your average looks maxer would see my American friend, they would literally shit them. They wouldn't be able to talk to him because he's way too intimidating. I see American guys who come in There's quite a lot of like all different types of American guys. There's a few American guys who come in, and I think they're these kind of like black American guys who they want to play up to this kind of rapper type of style, but realistically, they're just a normal working class guy. They're not a criminal or anything like that, but they kind of play into the style. And they meet my friend who's like a white, like a white gangster. Like he reminds me of like the characters like Ed Norton plays in like American History X, or that other one when he's in prison with like these braids or something, like a hardcore criminal. These guys, all the Americans just shit themselves when they meet him. You just can't, you just get away from him basically. So even I, when I first met him, I was like, because if people have an issue with him in the street, he'll almost be ready to fight like local guys in the street at the drop of a hat, like for no reason at all. It's pretty insane. But he wouldn't do that with me, for example. But because I'm respectful to him, but his aggression in his approach is insane. And so I've learned little bits and pieces from him. He certainly has masculine charisma. Like you would not trifle with him at all. And the girls here, like they definitely respond to him. The Italian guys, it's a totally different type of charisma. It's way more playful. It's way more subtle. It's way more skilled. It's just ridiculous, oozing seduction. And then the local guys, the local Dominican guys, they're all seducing away. Now I'm actually in there with this group, and to be honest, I'm probably better than most of them, to be honest, just on experience now, because I've done so much. I'm so well-rounded now. So I do little bits and pieces with the Italians. They love it. They fucking love it. They hand me their phone. They hand me the phone sometimes so I can chat up their girlfriend, right? So your average looks maxer does not realize there are guys like this out there. They don't realize there's a Joseph out there. They don't realize there's a Paul University out there. There's a Balthus out there. We've all got our different styles, right? But it's charisma. It's bringing your personality to the forefront. It's sexuality with the girl. It's playfulness with the girl, right? So yeah, these guys don't really realize that all exists, and they're just living in a ridiculous world. It's not real. You don't need money. You don't need crazy looks maxing. You don't need. I would say if anything is going to be to your, if anything can be to your advantage, having some kind of a social life is going to be good. And just get yourself in the gym, look presentable. But apart from that, you need social skills. You need social skills. You need sexual confidence. And it's such a differentiator as a man. This is such a differentiator as a man. So there we go. It's been a great live today. I've got a couple extra things just to talk about at the end. I've really enjoyed this live today. I feel we've covered some great territory, hopefully useful territories. Even probably some of the advanced guys may find it interesting. But if you're a beginner, these are some of the perspectives that come through. The last thing I just wanted to talk about, which is an interesting one, is addiction, and semen retention, caffeine reduction. I just wanted to talk about that because my friend Senator Winner, he's also an on guy, he has been on a 30-day semen retention challenge, no gambling, no smoking, no drinking. So he's in recovery. So he's had some addiction issues in his life, and this is his thing. Go and check out our channel, Senator Winner, if you've got addiction issues. The guy's an absolute fucking legend, right? And by the way, I'm not even going to go into his approach. I'm not even going to go into his cold approach, mate. Like, he's really an addiction guy, right? But his cold approach, to put it mildly, is good, right? So he's been on this 30-day challenge, right? And I've been logging in, seeing how he's doing, always enjoying him. He's good value. He's an actor. He's also he's an expert on addiction. And so I watched his stuff and I thought, you know what? I love watching this. Right, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do no pornography. Because, yeah, truth be told, I had a month off my approach when I first got into the DR, just because I hammered approach from March, from Barcelona, through to the end of August. I fucking hammered it every week, a lot of it on camera as well, and a lot of it just privately. And I was just spent. I don't have the neurological energy to go out and talk to new people. I just want to relax, man. I don't want to go out, and start approaching. And so for that first month, I was just chilling. And then I started to get into a little habit like, oh, why not just watch a bit of porn? It's no big deal. I've proven myself. I've got girls here and there. What's it to me if I watch a bit of porn? So I started, casual, not addictively, but just casually. And then by the end, I was kind of like, yeah, I'm really enjoying the pornography here, right? This has just been 1 month. And then I start approaching again. My approach was absolutely fucking on point from the beginning. No warm-ups, just straight in. Let me load up the fucking crossbow, bang. And it was just straight through the target, nailing them to the wall, right? But I still carried on watching a bit of the old pornography. And after about 3 weeks, I started to notice, I was like, I'm struggling a little bit with eye contact. I was thinking, why is that? That's weird. It's not me. Is it maybe, I don't know, am I just readapting to this environment I've not been in for a long time? The DR is a different environment, whatever. Didn't make any sense. And I was still doing approach, I was still doing fine, but I knew in myself I was struggling a little bit with eye contact, which was really weird. And I decided, right, well, as a separate thing, I'm going to join this semen retention or whatever. I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm still going to shag, but I'm just going to cut the porn out. And I said, I'm never watching porn again. I said it in a message to Sinner. I was like, I thought about it. I was like, is there any advantage to me watching a representation of a man fucking a woman? I thought, no, it's fucked up. It's got to be doing something to my brain, even in a month, right? So I completely cut it out. And I've not watched any porn since whatever it was, 5 weeks ago, whatever it was. Not that difficult to cut out, really. And I noticed within a week my eye contact was completely back to normal. Completely back to normal, relaxed, cool eye contact, right? So I messaged Sinner and I said, you know what's weird is since I just completely cut out that pornography, my eye contact came straight back up again. And he goes, yeah, imagine this, right? Think about it in nature. Who's the guy who watches other men fucking women, watches the other man's cock going into the woman's pussy, right? It's the complete beta male who does that, right? You're in the corner like in the forest and you're watching the alpha male banging the girl, right? He's banging 2 girls or he's banging the hot girl in the tribe. He's the alpha. You're the absolute little pussy who's watching it, trying to get off, jerking in the corner. Like, that is such a beta male position to put yourself in. So if you do that mentally, physiologically, you're going to start to become more submissive because your mind is receiving the message. I'm the beta of the tribe. I'm watching other men fuck. And this was Sinner's in insight. And I thought about it. I'm like, I've never heard that insight. And I think that is fucking brilliant because I believe really deeply in, well, I don't think it's a question of belief. We are evolved from more primitive species. We are essentially very simian, very monkeyish, right? Obviously, physiologically we are. That's the animal we resemble the most. And psychologically, a lot of our stuff in our minds, we're group animals, we're status, women, blah, blah, blah. It's all of that stuff, right? That tribal stuff. It's in us, it's in our brain. So to me, that's a complete no-brainer. And I've watched documentaries on apes and stuff. I actually find it really interesting. And that is exactly what happens. The little beta male brings the girl some presents and stuff. He gets a bit of attention from her, then she goes and fucks the alpha, right? That is just how it is. I was like, shit. And yeah, maybe the little beta just watches through the forest and stuff. Shit, that's going to be affecting you. So, so that was the first thing I did. Cut that out. And I wouldn't say I was addicted at all, but I just got into a habit. So I cut it out. Straight away, within a week, eye contact is back on point. So yeah, as a minimum, I would say, guys, don't watch visual pornography of guys fucking women. Don't do that. Don't do that. A still image of a woman with her tits out, it's not as good as a real woman, but it's definitely not as damaging, right? Your imagination is definitely not as damaging. But yeah, visually watching a guy penetrating a woman, you should never do that again in your life. I never will, right? It's a big claim to say I'll never do that, but like, I'm never going to get into a habit of doing that again. I don't know. Maybe I watched porn with a girl one time or something like that, but this is going to be my default setting anyway, because you don't need it. You don't need it. And he's on 30 days no fap, and he said 31 days, and he's like, yeah, I'm just animalistic right now. I'm just completely on a different level of alpha that he's ever been, right? And there, yeah, you're going out with a loaded fucking shotgun, right? But he said, it's been ups and downs, and it's hard. It's literally hard to go 30 days without ejaculating as a man. You're a high testosterone man. It's fucking difficult. He's found it tough, but he's stuck at it. And alongside my sort of, just quitting the porn, as a completely separate thing, which started out of blind luck, was I got really sick about 3 weeks ago. Violently sick. Tropical sick. And I couldn't really eat or drink for like a few days. And obviously I couldn't drink coffee as well, because that's also an irritant to the stomach. And I thought, well, I'm out of, I got to about, it was Monday that I got sick. And by Thursday, I made my mind up. I'm like, I'm not going back to caffeine. I've been having all these hydration drinks because I needed to hydrate myself because I was sick. I thought, you know what? I've done 3 days off caffeine and I've just been focusing on hydration. I'm going to continue with this. So I'm going to go no caffeine. And yeah, that was a kind of like, right, I'm quitting coffee for 30 days. And fuck me, that is an addictive substance. Caffeine, in my opinion, should be a something classed drug. It is a fiendishly addictive substance, and it's dangerously addictive because you think it's giving you more energy. It's not. It's stealing your energy. It's giving you a boost of, it's a toxin, basically. And the reason you feel more alert is because your body's going into fight or flight. Your cortisol levels are increasing. Blood flow to your brain is decreasing, and norepinephrine is increasing as well. Adrenaline, norepinephrine is increasing. On top of that, you're also getting, it's called, I think it's your adenosine receptors are blocked, so you don't feel tired when you should do. So normally your adenosine receptors, they fill up throughout the day, and eventually you get tired and you fall asleep. Right, when you block those receptors, you just don't feel that tiredness. And if you completely block them off, you feel hyper alert. So that makes you think that you're more productive, you're more energetic. You're not at all. You're not at all. Your liver's got to process it all out as well. And I've been thinking for a while, my liver already has quite a lot to do. I work out hard, which does put a little bit of strain on it. I have a lot of protein, which does put a little strain on it. You can all handle that. But then on top of that, I'm drinking a lot of caffeine as well. This probably isn't very good, right, for the liver, the kidneys. I need a bit of a detox here. Unfortunately, I got sick because otherwise I don't think I'd have been able to quit. So the first 7 days, completely lethargic and fucked. Because I'm sick anyway, it doesn't even matter. I get back to work by Thursday, so I have Tuesday, Wednesday off, get back to work by Thursday. And I was just grateful to be back at work, to tell you the truth, after being so violently ill. So I got through those days, and that Friday, Saturday I go out. Saturday was my birthday, and I'm feeling like, the caffeine's out of my system. I'm feeling way more relaxed. I've got like no approach anxiety at all. Even though I'm a pro and I do this for a living, or part of I do coach people, I still sometimes get that like tension, that excitement, those nerves. But I was like going around a festival on my own, and because I got no caffeine in my system, I've got some very good mental exercises that I do as well. I'm going over to the hottest girl, and I promise you she's the hottest girl in the whole festival, and her friend, bang, 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 closing her, 40 years old. I don't feel anything, I don't feel any nerves. Opening a 5-set in the street, nothing. Eat it like it's nothing. Now, if I had caffeine in my system, I'd still go and do the approach, but truth be told, I'd feel a bit edgy. And I still do the approach anyway, and I know that edginess now has come from the caffeine. And so I was like, right, okay, that's me confirmed. I'm staying off the coffee. The following week, I'm still off the caffeine, and I'll go back to work, and fuck me, it was the hardest week of work I've ever done. I was bored like I've never been bored ever in my life. I literally felt like I wanted to shoot heroin or something. I'm like, I am so bored. This is so fucking horrific. And my job is not, sometimes it's quite interesting, sometimes it is quite boring, to be honest. like probably most jobs, right? But overall, I'm out here living in the fucking Caribbean at 40 years old, and I've been living on the road for 6 years. I've lived in 20 different fucking countries. My life is fucking amazing because of the work that I do, right? So I can't complain. But yeah, the second week, I'm like, fuck me, can I even continue to work without caffeine? But I get through it. And then in the evenings, when I've got my time off, we're in the middle of a fucking hurricane. By the way, Hurricane Melissa's here. So I'm in the Caribbean. I still managed to get out a little bit, hang out with my mates a little bit, the old Italian geezers and stuff. And I think Dave probably did one or two approaches last week. And then I'm like, yeah, I feel much more relaxed, even just hanging out with my mates. My body feels relaxed. There's a flow to my muscles. It feels amazing. And this is all because of a lack of caffeine in my system. Now, I'm sensitive to caffeine, and I'd be having a full pot of coffee a day, which is like 2.5 cups of strong coffee, then probably another shot of espresso later in the day, maybe even another double. So for some guys who are not sensitive to it, that's not a lot. For me, I know I'm sensitive to it, and I cane it as well. So it is a lot. So now I've not got that in my system, I'm feeling way more relaxed. Like my muscles are feeling more relaxed. I'm feeling more chill. If I do have tension in my muscles, I can identify it like, okay, I need to stretch out a little bit. But I'm stuck inside last week all week and get out a little bit. And then Friday night, I did actually break the caffeine thing. I went out to the mall just to go out. The mall's closed, so I'll go to a different mall. And the only place that was fucking open in the whole mall was like a coffee shop / restaurant. I asked for a decaf. They didn't have decaf. I said, all right, what else have you got? Have you got a mocha or something? Just minimal caffeine, yeah? Because I just want to get out of the fucking house. So they bring me an Irish coffee, which it didn't have much caffeine in it, and it had a whiskey in it. Buzz for the week. Yeah, hopefully you're back in here. That's my only buzz for the week. So I did have an Irish coffee like last Friday night, but you know that's nothing compared to what's happened before. It's probably 50 milligrams of coffee and a shot of whiskey in there. I didn't really even feel the caffeine, to be honest. I felt the whiskey more. And then I carried on to this week, and man, all these revelations I've had through a lack of caffeine have been fucking amazing. I felt all these different emotions. I'm like, fuck, at night when I don't have anyone around, I'm feeling lonely. I'm feeling a lack of dopamine. Shit, what the fuck is going on? I need to start dance again. I'm not dancing. That's where I used to get my happy chemicals. I used to get my dopamine, my serotonin, right? Aspects of my work I'm not happy with. I need to change that. You know, aspects of my life I'm not good with right now. I need to change some things because I'm so fucking coked up on caffeine every day. I just ignore everything. I just plow on. As long as I can work, as long as I can make the money, and I can cold approach, and I can hang out with my mates, I don't need to address anything. And then all the caffeine dopamine goes away, and I'm like, fuck, I've still got major things to address. Major things. This remote lifestyle, you know, working all over the world, you can start to feel lonely, right? And I think I was using a bit of caffeine to just mask that a little bit, right? So right now you need to make more attention with your friends, get on a few calls here and there with family and stuff, you know. So yeah, I didn't do the full you know, semen retention. I met with a few girls and stuff like that. I did have a FAP the other day in the middle of Storm Melissa. I was too depressed, but I didn't use any pornography or anything. So it's a kind of like, yeah, it's taking on one thing at a time. But I haven't looked at any pornography, and I looked at a couple of pictures, to be fair. I looked at a couple of pictures. On the middle of Storm Melissa, my brain needed some dopamine. But apart from that, no videos, not getting into any kind of a habit. But more importantly, actually, for me, was kicking that caffeine. I'm on day 18. Only just today I've started to feel on an even keel. And I think caffeine for me is more detrimental than wine and booze, because caffeine gives you that low level stress all day long, and you ignore it, but for me I know it's there, and I can drink it all day every day, and it doesn't affect my work, and I can delude myself it makes my work better, which it actually doesn't. So and it definitely, I've been sleeping way more, way better, my body feels way more relaxed, my work is starting to come up again now. These last couple of days, my work has been really good again. And actually, even things I was finding boring, I'm finding at least a little bit more tolerable now. And even like my speed of thought before I needed the caffeine to think quick. No, now, I'm caffeine free and I'm able to do this association. I'm able to think when I'm working. My brain is firing like as it should be as a 40-year-old man who, reads and learns. I'm in the gym. Everything should be good. I shouldn't fucking need coffee just to think. Right. So yes, this has been a great experiment. I will definitely be pushing on to day 30 for sure. I do get little kicks here and there because I've had a little bit of chocolate that has like 5 milligrams of caffeine, which compared to like 400 milligrams, which I was taking before, per day, it's obviously nothing. I think decaf, I've had a few decafs here and there. I think that's got like 5 milligrams of caffeine, but to all intents and purposes, completely caffeine free. And I would say if I use it again in the future, I will specifically not use it for work. I would use it on like a Friday night, like I essentially accidentally did. Don't use it to work. Use it for leisure, right? Or just go without, right? But I will definitely be continuing on my 30-day no caffeine trip. The headaches on week 1 were, they were definitely there. The lethargy, week 2 was fucking unbelievably tough, and week 3. Man, like low dopamine at times, man. Low dopamine for sure. My Chinese Dominican fucking girl, she definitely got the dopamine going again last night with her fucking huge norks. So yeah, that's been a cracking life this evening, boys. Let's see if there are any more comments. Balfour's spending money on a car when you can buy a wing and change your life. Yeah, if you learn cold approach and travel, you'll forget all that garbage. Yeah, I mean, I don't really need to sell it. The guys who've come in to work with me have changed their lives in an afternoon. You've seen me doing it. I'm 5'7". I'm 40 years old. You've seen Balthus doing it. He's a tall, blonde guy who is not rich. He's a normal guy. Ephraim is a half black, half Asian guy, similar height to me, like 5'8", 5'9", not some huge jack guy. None of us are rich. We're all normal guys, and I mean, just look across all 3 channels if you want. What more evidence do you really need, right? And I mean, all I can really say is the stuff you can see on my channel is really a fraction of what I'm doing, and the guys who actually come out with me, they see it a bit more in real life. Yeah, we'll continue to make content. We'll continue to fly the flag. But I think in 2025, your approach is a superpower. It's a superpower. And it's an insurance policy against loneliness. It's an insurance policy against sexual frustration. And it's an insurance policy against wishing and wanting. Okay? You can get great approaches and great results. You get great results from cold approach, and it develops you socially, right? Develops you socially. The brotherhood that we've built as well, the guys who come in with me, it's a long-term process. I still message these guys months after they're emerging, annoying them, right? Making sure they're doing the right thing, because I want to take everyone on this journey, and I want the light to spread. The candle was lit by my friend Christian, that was lit with me, and I'm helping to light other guys' candles, right? So if you like my content, you can go and check out my other videos. You can see my mailing list. You want to get on a call with me? I'm not coaching guys till 2026, but we can talk about your situation. I'll have a website coming online shortly as well. You can learn a bit more about what I do with the coaching. It really is a passion, because this shit changes guys' lives. And in one weekend, you can permanently upgrade your life. And you've got it forever. My approach skills are going to be just as good at 50, probably better than they are now at 40. And they're pretty fucking good now. Yeah. At 41, they'll probably be even better. Right. So it's a skill you learn for life. And I mean, how many times have you looked over to a guy who just seamlessly goes over to a girl and pulls her in a club or something? How many times, if you're honest, have you looked over that and just deep within your soul, you just felt really fucking jealous? You're like, man, I respect him. I really wish I could fucking do that. I know that I felt like that. Because I was like, man, I'm an intelligent guy, I'm a sporty guy, I've got all these credentials. And this was in my early 20s, and I can't do this basic fucking stuff. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. It just doesn't come naturally to me. Or whatever I did have naturally, I've kind of lost. I felt really fucking jealous. And I was never resentful though. I always admired the guy and always wanted to do better myself. And over time, I dedicated myself to it. Fuck me, the amount of shit I tried. You're probably not going to try the amount of shit that I tried. You're probably not. I don't know if people now are. There's a certain breed of guys who are tough enough mentally to go to go this route alone. Unless they're naturals, most guys just won't last. A lot of wings I've been out with, they just haven't lasted. They haven't lasted, and that is, that's probably one of my biggest assets is consistency. Probably one of the most consistent guys out there over a very long timeline. So you can skip the queue. You can download all my knowledge so fast. Fuck me. It's so worthwhile, man. It's so worthwhile. And then women are essentially taken care of. And then it just becomes interesting. Now I'm like, I don't have to worry about getting women. Now it's more like, maybe what about one of these models? What about Miss World? What about these? Could I get into this? I can get into this league. I've already closed models recently. I've not slept with any recently, but I've number closed them recently in the last few weeks. So like, could I get into this league as well? That requires a little bit more social circle as well. We're starting to find this in Belgrade. Can we start doing indoor approaches, maybe in cafes? We've got a bit more social proof. We start to do some more interesting stuff, right? But fundamentally, can I get a girlfriend? Can I get laid? Yes. Can I get it from the street? Yes. If it's not raining, which it is now, but if it's not raining, I can get numbers any day of the fucking week. Yeah? In many countries around the world, almost any country. So it's very reassuring. It's very reassuring. I sleep very nicely. I sleep soundly with this knowledge. And yeah, I just think it's fantastic. To be honest with you, I think it's fantastic. Yeah, if only I could have known this sooner, but I'm glad that I've got it now. And you'll be seeing a lot of 40-year-old titles coming through in the next few weeks, like 40-year-old does this, 40-year-old does that. And I will continue to fly the good flag. We'll be doing shorts. We'll be probably getting some camera action going soon as well. Maybe get some of these glasses. And we just have to continue to fight the good fight. This is a hobby. This is a passion. I'll be back coaching next year. Let's keep going, boys. You know where to find me, and I'll catch you on the next one.